Hello everyone, Maurice here. Today I'm bringing you another meta report for Axie Infinity Origins Season 9. Now it's the late epic era. So to be honest, not much has changed. In that sense, the turnip is still at the top. I guess one new thing, I won't say it's new, but it's like the thing is it's a pure damage 30 fighter is really actually getting quite high at the top as well. And I think it's actually the top spot at the moment with the highest win rate at the very top. But of course, we're talking about, the very top few players at this point. Okay, then let's just get into the player blaze statistics first, and we're actually closing to 10k players, which is I would say something quite new for Origins, like, at least in recent years. Another interesting fact is actually this tri-modal kind of distribution, where of course usually we have like in Tiger, there's quite a bit of players, like Tiger. Of course, like in the egg and chick. That range as well, but we do have like a new one which is Boar, and I do feel like this is more like for players who have consistently been playing over the seasons, but like basically free to play kind of thing, but then slowly climb up there, but then got stuck there at the board. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting kind of distribution at this point, which is I think this peak is definitely in a bit different from previous years, I think, or at least not as much for previous seasons. But I think this is where it's the play to rise phenomena that really leads to it, I think. So okay, let's just get into the archetype usage. And then you can see is, to be honest, in terms of like this is a whole challenger as a whole, which there are something I forgot to mention, like there are about yeah, close to 3,000 players at challenger already, which is quite a bit, right? And so you can see actually poison, fury, aggro, those are still the two main archetype, even though poison is not really doing too well, but still it's not bad. And then yeah, Jinx also quite a bit, right? And then Feather. So I would say those are still like the most popular ones, even though of course like it's not necessarily the most successful one. So Turnip is still the most successful one, followed by I would say the pure damage story fighter. Of course, the only actually there are quite a bit of player playing it as well at the lower end, but yeah, you can see at the top it's mostly of course the numbers are a lot smaller, but yeah, it's mostly definitely Turnip and pure demonstratory fighter. We do see some Fury aggro and maybe a bit of Jinx coming up. And then if you go down a bit, then you see Poison. Yeah, of course, Fury aggro there, Feather as well. Yeah, and a bit of Sustain. And then only if you go down a bit, then you see more like Anemone, Sandal, even a bit of Perch, that kind of thing. So it's there's still different archetypes. So I feel like it is going to be, yeah, it's actually pretty much kind of the same ones. I feel like because it's always like Poison, Fury Aggro, Jinx, Feather, and Nominator. Those are like the most popular one, and Turnip being so strong this season that a lot of players are starting to play it. So in that sense, I was actually I must say quite wrong when I said Turnip might not make it this in the Epic era, just because I thought like the other archetypes like Fury Aggro might actually be able to run like pretty fast, and but still, yeah, I think of course Turnip also has some new tools as well, so that's why. Um, yeah, I guess something that I didn't actually, okay, keep scrolling, but like different something that I did this particular season is actually that I kind of written it here actually, right? Is that I've actually decided to go like so-called really completely free to play, meaning I don't really buy any new runes and charms. I'm just basically effectively now playing with all the rare stuff that I managed to craft with the free moon shards and stuff, and yeah, playing it in the epic era. And with that, I'm actually at about I would say Dragon 2, which is maybe like top 4, 5,000 ish. And what I'm trying to say is that yeah, basically like everyone above that I would say they may like buy a bit of runes and charms, but that just means that the yeah, everyone, I won't say everyone, but most people below top 5,000 or 4,000 are probably not really spending much, if at all. So in that sense, even though you can see the player base is like pretty high, right, in terms of like getting close to 10k, but actually maybe only like 4 5k players actually maybe actually are involved in the actual runes and charms market, while most players might not really be doing that because if they have epic runes and charms, they probably are likely to climb up to at least like higher than Dragon 2. That's my impression. Anyway, so that's just more my personal impression of the you know, player base at this point. Okay, then let's just get into the win rate, and then this is where you can see that Yeah, so pure demonstrator fighter is really at the very top in terms of win rate. Of course, this is really only like one or two players at the very top, but it shows that like it can be quite successful. And our first turnip is still up there, and then the rest is, I must say, pretty much quite settled in that sense. Yeah, so not much really is going to happen, I feel, because like yeah, it's quite close to 50%. Yeah, so meaning the different archetypes are quite settled in their perspective. Yeah, prospective yeah victory star points, I would say. Okay, so in terms of archetype matchup, the main one that I would want to say is basically the pure demonstrator fighter, I would say. Interestingly, it's just actually like, of course, this is the whole challenger. This is for the whole challenger, so as you can see, right, whole challenger. But um, yeah, it's still like it's actually like surprisingly that like it's not doing too well against like like the most popular ones like basically poison, free aggro drinks are like not even. I would say the main thing that it does well against is actually like turnip, and that's why maybe this like is a good pick at the very top. Of course, it still has its like own weaknesses, but like things like triple R don't you don't really see at the highest level in that sense. So maybe that's why it's a good pick at the highest level. Yeah, anyway, okay, so a lot of information here. Just, of course, actually, I should scroll down here as well, just to show you maybe the highest level, and see what happens is that the I think this one appears demonstrator fighter is probably the only one that is giving like the highest level of turnip trouble, whereas the turnip is really doing very well against all the other popular archetypes. Let's put it that way. So that's why. Yeah, so I think that's basically the gist of it. Of course, feel free to go through the blogs posts to see more of the details of different matchup for different victory star bracket. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. So let's just see if a turnip will still be continue to be at the top in the Mystic era. I think it'll be quite fun. I think for Mystic era to see how the meta has shifted. Okay, and that's it. And then I'll see you in the Mystic era.